Hello everyone, SquaredCircle Wrestling is back with another episode which includes WWE willing to pay Cristiano Ronaldo $50 million to appear at Crown Jewel. AEW Dynamite sees a massive increase in ratings and viewership. Jericho issues warning to WWE. Is CM Punk returning in October? Edge wants to wrestle outside of AEW. Current top female WWE star makes surprising confession. And much more. You can check the complete list with time chapters in the description box below. Before we start, make sure to subscribe to our channel for all the latest news. Our top story for today looks at AEW Dynamite sees a massive increase in ratings and viewership. AEW Dynamite was back to its regular night and time this week, and the numbers rebounded following last week's head-to-head battle with NXT and AEW Dynamite. The promotion made a significant comeback this week after losing some of its viewership last week. According to WrestleNomics, an average 901,000 viewers watched the show on Wednesday night, and it drew a 0.31 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. The viewership was up by 48% from last week's episode when 609,000 viewers tuned in against NXT last Tuesday night. The demo also rose from last week's episode, which drew a 0.26 rating in the same demographic. However, this week's NXT was watched by a total audience of 798,000 and scored a 0.23 rating among 18 to 49 demographic. The viewership was down 13.4% from last week's loaded episode that included appearances by John Cena and The Undertaker, which saw a viewership of 921,000 audience. Next up, WWE willing to pay Cristiano Ronaldo $50 million to appear at Crown Jewel. Rumors suggest that WWE are willing to pay Cristiano Ronaldo a significant sum of money in exchange for his appearance at Crown Jewel 2023. Ronaldo is the most followed star on social media, and his presence consequently constantly attracts interest and draws visitors from all around the world. Recent rumors claim that the WWE is considering inviting the legendary Portuguese footballer to their yearly Crown Jewel premium live show in Saudi Arabia, and are willing to pay a sum of whopping $50 million for his appearance. Would you like to see Ronaldo at WWE Crown Jewel? Let us know in the comments below. Next up, Jericho issues warning to WWE. Jericho is proud to be working in AEW and isn't afraid to show it. Being veteran in the business, he doesn't really have much care about what his haters have to say. He is aware of how decisively NXT beat AEW Dynamite last week, but now he has warned WWE to not get too full of themselves after the win. He said, you can only bring in Cena and Undertaker and Cody and everybody else so much because nobody wants to work on their secondary show all the time. And it was a fun little, hey, F you AEW. I didn't even really worry about it. Jericho continued to say that he pitched Tony Khan to counter this by bringing in celebrities who have appeared on AEW programming in the past. I told Tony, well, if you want to fire back, bring in Shaq and Snoop Dogg and those types of guys, Mike Tyson. But Tony didn't do that. We relied on our show and our guys and our girls, and that's the way it's always been for us. So, don't get too far up your own ass because you didn't do that good of a job as far as crushing us. And our show was better than theirs, quite frankly, so it doesn't bother me. Next up, update on Roman Reigns' creative booking following McMahon's exclusion. Roman Reigns' WWE booking exceeded expectations when he returned to the promotion during the pandemic era. The Tribal Chief is the most talked about star in the company, and Vince McMahon took special care when it came to his booking on the roster. Earlier it was revealed that Vince McMahon will have no input with the creative of WWE and Triple H will be the man behind the creative from now on. According to Fightful Select, Reigns has been out since shortly after SummerSlam, before returning for the build to Crown Jewel. While he was out, things changed behind the scenes and Vince McMahon is no longer contributing creatively. However, we're told that Roman Reigns' creative process is largely the same. Both Reigns and Paul Heyman are said to contribute heavily, and did, regardless of the head of creative was Vince McMahon, Triple H, or a combination of the two. Beyond that, Michael Hayes is still tasked with handling the production on most Bloodline-related angles, interviews and segments regardless of show. Next up, Shane McMahon's son confesses possibility of WWE future. Vince McMahon's grandson Declan says he's not closing the door on a possible run in WWE and thinks he would be pretty good at it. Declan McMahon spoke with Woo Online after appearing at WWE Fastlane and was asked about his tweet after the show where he said he was born for this. Upon asking about a potential wrestling career in WWE, he replied, "I'm never ruling it out. I would love get in the ring a couple times, but you have to see if the opportunity presents itself. It's all about the story. We'll see. I think a lot of fans would get behind it if we ended up doing it. I think I would be pretty good at it. You never know, never ruling an option out. As for now, focusing on football and school and we'll play it by ear." Next up, is CM Punk returning in October. Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory event is set to take place on October 21st at Chicago, Illinois. Any show in Chicago, Illinois could have CM Punk buzz around it, especially a pay-per-view event. Sean Sapp of Fightful was asked on Twitter whether CM Punk may show up at Bound for Glory, to which he replied, I know a lot of people scoff at it, but yet Impact would welcome CM Punk. Beyond obvious reasons, people said he was really great backstage when he visited. Wrestle purist podcaster Ibu has revealed that Impact Wrestling reached out to CM Punk and threw the offer out there. We will have to see if CM Punk agrees to do business with them. Next up, why things didn't work out between CM Punk and AEW. Former World Heavyweight Champion Mark Henry appeared for an interview on Booker T's Hall of Fame podcast. CM Punk and his departure from AEW were among the topics discussed on the show. Henry was questioned about why he thought CM Punk didn't work out in AEW. He said, "I saw him try to uplift the younger talent. I feel like Punk is a lot like some of the people in sports that I know. The people in sports hate the fact that college football and college students are getting paid money now. It's the old school mentality, and the old school mentality rubs young people the wrong way. Young people call you a boomer, or they say you're an old, outdated or whatever, and some people are stuck in their ways, and Punk is stuck in his ways, and that's not a knock." Henry continued, "I like conviction. I like somebody that can stand to their guns and they can debate with you on the fact that, you know what, this is why sometimes being an old will save your life, because I know better. I experienced it. I went through the fire, and I feel like Punk's delivery of some of that conviction fell on deaf ears." Next up, Edge wants to wrestle outside of AEW. WWE Hall of Famer Adam Copeland made his AEW debut on October 1, 2023 at AEW Wrestle Dream. With his new home having links to New Japan Pro Wrestling, AAA and more recently CMLL, Copeland's wrestling world just got a whole lot bigger. Former 11-time world champion Edge, during an appearance on the Battleground podcast, was asked whether he's interested in wrestling outside of AEW. He said, "That's pretty exciting actually. You know, a byproduct of coming here is, oh wait, hold on a second, Tokyo Dome, that's on the checklist. Arena Mexico, well hold on, you know, because I went there once. I was world champ, but I wore a mask because I wanted to watch the show. So I snuck in and watched the show with a mask on and just had a blast because I just love the culture of Lucha Libre and I love the pageantry. Those two things, I think would be very cool as, you know, a lifelong wrestling fan. Those are two experiences that I think would be really cool that I just didn't know would ever be in the cards. So you have to kind of write it off, especially after I had to retire in 2011. It's like, okay, just didn't get those things done. Now they can get done and that's pretty fun." Next up, Bryan Danielson opens up on new AEW role. When AEW Collision was launched back in June, it was done so as a way to bring CM Punk back to the company, with him having a lot of creative control on the show. However, following Punk's termination from the company, Bryan Danielson was said to have stepped up for the show, with him reportedly joining the creative team for Collision. Former WWE Champion Bryan Danielson, speaking on Sports Nightly, discussed his role on creative, believing that it has been overstated by reports. He said, "I think it's probably a little overstated. People ask me about it all the time, and I really don't do that much extra. Sometimes Tony asks me about certain ideas, or whatever, for Collision, and sometimes he doesn't. He's a very busy man. Football season has started. I hear a lot less from him during football season. It's one of those things where these shows are still Tony Khan produced shows. Most of these ideas are Tony Khan's ideas." Next up, current top female WWE star makes surprising confession. WWE superstar Carmella recently opened up about going bald a few years ago. Carmella, while speaking to Women's Health about her hair routine, revealed that she went bald 2 years ago. She explained that her hair was constantly getting pulled in the ring, causing her to have bald patches. She said, "As far as my hair care routine goes, I mean your girl was bald about 2 years ago. I had no hair. I mean getting my hair constantly pulled in the ring. I mean my extensions would get yanked out. I would have bald patches and the constant heat, and it's crazy being a lady wrestler and trying to keep your hair intact. But I will say the prenatal vitamins have really helped, and I try not to style my hair as much as possible. That way I don't have to worry about putting as much heat on my hair, and finally your girl is not bald anymore, and we love that." And that is all for today's news. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel SquaredCircle Wrestling for all the latest updates.